Hello everyone, Luna here. Today I'm going to be trying out something new. Well, it's definitely not new, but, it's new for me. It's kind of experimental. So this is mostly just like a quick little thing to test out this formula. Today, I'm going to be testing out Scout from Tower Defense Simulator, and how far he can go in every game mode. At the end of the video, I'm going to be rating the towers out of three main things, being DPS, crowd control, and cost efficiency. Also, this is unscripted, because I just think it would be more fun that way. Now, it's not going to be just him, because I wanted this to be actually at least a little unique to all the other types of videos like this that exist. Mostly I've seen them just, put down the tower, see how far it goes on its own. But I will be trying to do everything I can to, help boost him, if that makes sense. We got Commander and DJ, and there's also, I tried to get military base damage buff in him, but I couldn't figure that out in a position where it wouldn't spawn actual units, which I didn't find that particularly fair, so I'm just gonna only use DJ and Commander. Later, I bring Electroshocker and Ace Pilot with me, because Scout can do basically everything except lead and flying enemies, and Electroshocker happens to be good at dealing with both of those, and that's what I have him there for. Not that those types of enemies are really important to Scout specifically, because those only appear in, hardcore, and, Fallen and Pizza Party only have flying enemies, not lead. I think lead is an exclusive to, hardcore, if I'm not mistaken. I don't remember. But, yeah, that's kind of the whole thing. And this is going to be the loadout I use for any other towers I do this with. I might continue to do this with all of them. I doubt I'm going to get through all the ones that I have, because I'm probably going to lose interest in this eventually. But I'm going to do as many as I can, because I just think this is fun to look at. It's just like a little simulation thing you can put on in the background if you're doing stuff. But yeah, here you can see for easy mode I don't have them with me. Ace Pilot and Electroshocker I picked specifically for assisting towers: Commander, DJ, Ace Pilot, Electroshocker. The reason for this is for, Commander, DJ, general boosting towers, but Electroshocker is there for towers that don't have flying or lead detection, and Ace Pilot is there to give towers hidden detection, because, I could just, have it so that if a tower doesn't have hidden detection, I can just, put down an accelerator in the back or something, and, he can deal with it or whatever. But no, I prefer it because Ace Pilot, yes, he does do quite a few things, in the early game. If you just put down, one Ace Pilot, it can handle most of it, and it might be a little too good for certain stuff, at some point you're gonna be well, is Ace Pilot doing all the work, or is the tower doing all the work? Although, I don't know if that's gonna work forever, because hardcore and... well, I mean, it really is only hardcore. I doubt any tower is going to make it that far into hardcore just by itself. But, yeah, you never know. But if anything, dies because it simply, the Electroshocker couldn't handle the lead or flying enemies on its own, then I'm probably just going to redo it anyway. But yeah, as you can see, this is easy mode. Scout gets, really far ahead, because, it's easy mode. It's the first tower you get in the game. It's well, what else can I say? It's easy mode. It's really easy, and Scout makes it really... well, he doesn't make it really far. He beats the entire thing, which, you know, it's good. Because you'd want your starter tower to just be able to win against the easy mode of the game, the first mode, the beginner mode. Now, I did put down DJ and 3 commanders, but that was mostly for like a patent I have. Later you'll see that when I actually upgrade them in Molten, I put them there before I upgrade them, because I just, you know, want to space out the scouts correctly and make sure I don't eat up unnecessary space with them, so that I don't have to keep thinking, oh, do I have to put this here, or does DJ have to go here, or something. At least for Scout, because, you know, he's so cheap, I might as well put down all of them and then upgrade the DJ and the commanders, which is what I did for Molten and Intermediate. You can see I didn't even get to do that for Easy, and Gravedigger dies, like, relatively early. Didn't even get to, like, get that far in the second loop, which honestly impressed me. Doing this whole thing was, like, quite impressive for Scout, in my opinion. Like, just vanilla Scout, no golden. I don't even own Golden Scout. But it's really impressive, I think, how far he was able to get in all of these, you know. Of course, I'm gonna spoil it right now, but Easy is the only mode he managed to beat, but I'm still surprised with, like, the distance he managed to get in every other mode. He didn't really struggle with anything in Easy either. He cleaned up house really well. It's impressive, I think. And, you know, after Easy, you got Molten, for as long as we still have this mode, of course. This one was also quite easy. You know, it's Molten. Anyone who's been playing for a long time knows that Molten has just been like the relaxed mode of the game, really. Molten is the one where you really can just do whatever. You spend, like, how long? 20 minutes just chilling, basically. It really is the brain off mode. Honestly, I would still say Molten is easier than Easy mode, just based on how long it is and how little the enemies, like, affect you, really. You can just do anything and you can get the Molten boss pretty easily. The only reason Easy is easier than Molten is because Molten boss has a lot of HP and his moves are quite annoying. Like, he stuns, and he doesn't stun that much, but, like, he spawns a shitload of stuff, and Molten Titans have a lot of HP, so they're quite annoying to deal with. And this is mostly what Scout struggles with, and why he didn't make it through Molten boss, is because enemies that, like, spawn stuff or breakers with a lot of HP, he can't really deal with those. He's honestly really solid for single target damage. Of course, he couldn't deal with, you know, big guy over here, but he got close. He got really, really close. If I wasn't as lazy and, like, macroed the scouts, you know, I moved a few of them to the back, but not really all of them. If, like, as soon as he got to the bridge, I started moving them back, I think he would have made it, honestly. But, yeah, he got to wave 40, lost to Molten boss, only like 7,000 HP left. It was close. I honestly wasn't even expecting him to get to Molten boss. I thought he would die to, like, wave 37 breakers, and it kind of was close, like wave 34, but not really. The last couple of waves dragged on for a while. Like, Molten boss by himself, like 4 minutes on its own. It's quite a lot. But yeah, moving on to Intermediate. This one was quite well. It wasn't hard, obviously. Like, he made it pretty far. Again, he got way further than I thought he would, but he struggled on, like, the things you would expect him to, right? Like, the necromancers, the living experiments combined with like the reavers really gave him some tough time. Breakers weren't as big of an issue as I expected in this one, although because like breakers are really an issue if they come in early. If they're later, when you have like a bunch of them put down, they can deal with them mostly fine. But the failed experiments combined with the reavers really gave him some tough times later on. Like wave 28 and 29 were quite close, not really close. None of them really made it past the second loop, but some of them got close to doing so. This is mostly what Scout struggles with, crowds. Enemies keep spawning later on, like breakers, and you'll see later what he died to, a lot of other things. It's similar to that, but he did make it to Patient Zero, surprisingly. Again, I thought he would have died in like wave 27, maybe even 25 with the bullshit that one comes up with. But he made it to Patient Zero, and he got him, like, once again, quite close. He didn't win, of course, and it wasn't as close as Molten Titan, but he did do 70,000 damage to him, which proves to me that he could beat Molten Titan if it didn't spawn so many high health enemies, like Molten Titans are insane. They're really annoying when it comes to Molten, like just as a mode, and Scout can't really deal with that very well. He's just not built for it. But once again, I'm very shocked he got this far. Like, this is just normal Scout we're talking about. Yes, he's being boosted by like DJ and Commander, but I still think it's quite impressive how far you can get just with him. And yeah, it really goes to show, I think, how well this game is balanced. And I don't think enough people give credit to the devs for that sort of thing. There's the few glaring issues in balancing here and there, like, I don't know, why is Rocketeer like that? Why Paintballer still hasn't gotten a rework? But I mean, they're working on it. I do think it's pretty impressive, and I like that a lot about this game. It's pretty cool. Going on to Fallen. Now, of course, this is Fallen we're talking about. He struggled a lot more here, as you would expect. I'm assuming his golden counterpart would be able to withstand this a lot more, because he didn't really get... Well, I mean, he got a lot further than I was expecting. Again, my expectations were kind of crushed with Scout. I was... like, when I was thinking of doing this, I honestly thought beating easy mode would be tough for him. Like, I knew he was gonna do it, but I thought it was gonna be, like, on the edge, I thought he was gonna get at least to the bridge. Like, Gravedigger, I thought was gonna at least get to the third loop. But no, he didn't even make it past the halfway point of the second loop. But, back to Fallen. Early was pretty swell, nothing really too interesting. He made it really easily past the Fallen Squire, which was a surprise to me. Aggro was way more of an issue than I thought. You really, like, I don't really think about aggro as it being that bad, really, unless I'm, like, annoyed that my outlaws aren't shooting at what I want them to. But, like, for something like Scout, it is really, like, bad for him. But he managed to keep it together. He even got past the Fallen Necromancer with no issue, really. He didn't get that far, and at that point I had gotten up the DJ and the Commander. Of course, no upgrades, but, the single 12.5% range boost and 17.5% fire rate boost help no matter what, so it's still, like, a bonus. It's a really expensive bonus for what it is, but you know, it's a bonus. At this point you can see I have Electro and Ace Pilot with me, because this is around the point I decided for that, because I realized, well, he's not going to have anything against flying enemies, if he even makes it that far, of course. Again, Scout did pretty well against Fallen. He got to, like, wave 18, the first wave with Jester in it, and he did really well against that. It wasn't really a big issue for him. But he did die on the next wave, which is essentially just wave 18 again, but cranked up to 1,000, because there's a lot more annoying enemies, and there's more Jesters, and there's Squires, which have aggro, which are very annoying. And at this point you can see I put down my my Electroshocker, because I didn't really quite remember when the flying enemies were, but it really didn't matter. The nimble, bloated fucking Fallens made it past, and he unfortunately died on wave 19, which is to be expected, really. Maybe he could have gotten a little further if I continued investing in more scouts instead of buying the Electroshocker, but I kinda doubt it. Moving on to special game modes, first we have Pizza Party, which, again, is... honestly, like, I was stunned he even made it past the first, scout, which he did, by the way, quite easily, actually. Like, I just had 3 scouts, no commander, no DJ, not even just, like, their little boost, and he made it past it, like, really easily. Yeah, he kind of, like, chewed through the scout enemy, scout-on-scout violence. He got, like, really far without taking any damage at all. No leaks, no nothing, until he died on wave 19 once again. The combination of 2 scouts with, you know, all of their extra health because of mutation, and also Necromancer, just was a little bit too much for him. He dealt with the 2 scouts, but the Necromancer was just, like, shrouded in all of his skeletons, and by that point, his little army had gotten a little bit too strong for us. Oh yeah, also, he did leak a little bit of breakers, I think, on wave 18. Yeah, he leaked a little bit of breakers on wave 18, which is understandable. Again, I only had like 6 of them down, and they weren't all even like maxed, so it makes sense why he would struggle on breakers, especially on this map. It makes sense, you know. But again, wave 19 for Scout, really, just Scout, is quite good, I think. Like, I was expecting him to die to the first Scout, but, you know, I guess, what do I know? Next up is Badlands 2. It went about as well as you would expect a single target tower like Scout to do. It was kind of a wash. He leaked constantly. Again, he did about as well as you would expect him to. He's just one tower with not very good DPS at first. So, like, up to the point where I could buy more scouts so that he'd stop leaking, it was awful. Like, pretty much almost every enemy got through that wasn't in the first batch, and this went on about the same until I got to, like, wave 4, 5, I think. Yeah, wave 4 is when it around stopped, when I got my 4th level 2 scout, which was able to keep most enemies at bay for a while. He did leak a little bit once again on like wave 6 with the quicks and the combination of the normal ones. Just 4 level 2 scouts weren't really enough to deal with that kind of thing, but as soon as they got to as soon as they got up to like level 3 and 4, things calmed down for a bit. He didn't leak at all, basically, until he died, which, you know, it's pretty good. This is where you notice the how hard he really struggles with breakers, because just breaker 2s, not even breaker 2s actually, I think it's just normal breakers. Yeah, he died to normal breakers, and at this point I had like, how many? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6... 6 working on a 7th max scout, so it didn't, like, he turbo struggles on breakers, and you can see why. Again, he's a single target tower, not really that great DPS, so if he has to keep putting up with towers that don't really get pushed back when you kill them, he just falls apart really quickly. He died on wave 18. Again, still better than what I was expecting. I didn't think he would even like make it past the first boss wave on like wave 10, but he did it, and that's quite impressive, I think. Moving on to Polluted Wastelands 2. This one was quite a drag because, you know, the enemies have so much HP and Scout deals so little damage. But he didn't leak at all in the beginning, unlike Badlands. He did quite well on Polluted Wastelands 2, honestly. Even for how long the map is, I didn't expect him to do that well because of how much health the enemies have. But he held his own for a while, really. It really wasn't until Amalgamation showed up with like its 8,000 HP and its constant spawning, and like its 2 mutated boss bodyguards, that he really couldn't deal with it. Yeah, really, up to that point, he was doing really well. It's surprising to me, too, how, like, it took this much for Scout to die, really. Like, I know Polluted Wastelands 2 is, like, such an easy layout of a map, but, like, that's kind of the reason it throws so much, like, obnoxious and absurd things at you because of how easy the map is. That's kind of like the whole thing with Polluted Wastelands 1, it was too. But honestly, it was way more tame back in the day. I honestly think, like, this Scout could make it probably up till circuits start, like, messing with your shit in, like, old Polluted Wastelands. I'm not even joking, honestly. He could do it. I believe in him. And with Polluted Wastelands, wave 22, technically wave 23 failure, that brings us to the final mode for today, which is hardcore. You know, it being hardcore, I couldn't even afford level 2 scout on the first wave, so it leaked quite a lot and quite easily too. It didn't really slow down until I got 3 level 2 scouts to defend. They all do 2 damage, so they could deal with all of the enemies, like, basically like it was a single shot. So yeah, that's really where it started to look a little up for Scout. And it went pretty smooth sailing. I got my electroshocker pretty early because, once again, I, honest to God, could not remember for the life of me when the leads and flying enemies showed up. But even with the electroshocker, he did really well. Like, of course, he couldn't take down the leads, or the balloons on his own. That's why Electroshocker is there. But even with like just level 3 scouts, I wasn't even able to max any of them until like wave 18, and he still held up really well until then. Just with the support of a level 3 Electroshocker for the flying and the leads. Again, I know that the Electroshocker probably pulled more weight than I'd like to admit, but come on, man. Like, Scout put in the work. Just let him have it, okay? But as much as I'd like to sing Scout's praises after this whole thing, he really was no match for the Mega Slow. Just such a beast of a boss coming out so early and so unexpectedly when really the highest health thing you'd have to deal with at that point was not even like 10. It's really close to being 10 times more health than the lead bosses. It's only 200 less. Even with 2 max scouts, he wasn't able to do it, and he died on wave 20. Honestly, he got a lot closer to killing it than I thought. Maybe if I had put less money into the Electroshocker, he would have done it, and more money back into him. Maybe if I had just had one more max scout, it would have worked. But I don't know if a level 2 Electroshocker would have been able to deal with the leads and flyings, so I didn't risk it. But yeah, that is our final tally of this. He got almost above wave 20 on every mode, which is quite impressive in my opinion. For the first ever tower, he's really cheap. He is really cost efficient with the amount of damage just a lot of them can do. He has hidden detection, he doesn't have flying or lead, so that detracts some points from him, but he really shines in his cost efficiency with single target DPS. You know, he's not really a a good DPS, it's Scout we're talking about here, but he pulls his own weight, I think. All things considered, I would give Scout a DPS rating of 7 out of 10. You know, honestly, it's pretty good for what it is. Crowd control rating of 4, because it really, that's really the only thing it struggles with, really, outside of you know, enemies that have a lot of HP, because it's just a starter tower. It can't handle those, really. And cost efficiency of 8 out of 10, honestly. And I'd rate him like a 7 out of 10 tower, at least B tier on like a tier list if I had to make one. He's good. I like him, and honestly, I can't wait to redo this again with Gold Scout whenever I get him. So yeah, that was my rating of Scout in TDS. I hope you enjoyed my rambling, because that's basically what it was. But yeah, if I do this again, it's going to be with Sniper, of course, next in line. So I hope you're looking forward to it. See ya!